So the Nintendo Switch is now over 3 years old, and that's kind of crazy. For a lot of us who have been following the Switch since its release, those 3 years have flown by, because we've gotten some incredible games, like obviously Animal Crossing New Horizons, Smash Bros. Ultimate, Breath of the Wild, and Mario Odyssey. However, with the Switch, Nintendo has kind of stuck to what they know works. They haven't really branched out to their incredible back catalog of different franchises, and for us sort of like hardcore Nintendo fans, that's a bit disappointing, because there are a ton of awesome franchises that we want to see get loved that Nintendo hasn't really given a chance on the Switch yet. However, with all their main franchises kind of running out of games they could really put on the Switch, they're gonna eventually have to put some of these older franchises on the Switch, right? Well, that's what we're here to talk about today. So hey guys, it's Thomas from the Switch Stop, and I'm joined by PJ, and we're gonna be talking about the Nintendo series that they've kind of forgot potentially coming to the Nintendo Switch. We have about 7 series to talk about today, so with that out of the way, let's just jump into the first one. Take it away, PJ.
So first off, we have the Earthbound series. Now, when people tend to think about quote-unquote forgotten Nintendo franchises, this one usually is one of the first that is thought of. Earthbound was the very first Mother game released in North America, coming out approximately 10 months after its original release. And the first Mother game, while not coming to North America originally, came out in 2015 for the Wii U's Virtual Console. Mother 3 still has yet to come out on any Nintendo systems in North America or pretty much anywhere worldwide. These 3 games have kind of created a cult following over the years and kind of have been quite overdue to come to NA and other countries like that other than Japan. If these games were to be remade, I'd like to see a graphic style, something similar to Link's Awakening, the remake that recently came out, or even Octopath Traveler. But if all 3 of the games were released on the Switch, I think that'd be pretty great for all Mother fans worldwide.
Another one of the most notable forgotten Nintendo franchises is FZero. FZero was one of Nintendo's premier racing games alongside Mario Kart until it just kind of fell off around the GameCube era. We really haven't gotten any form of FZero besides DLC in, funny enough, Mario Kart, which is the franchise many point to killing FZero. Regardless of why FZero ended so abruptly, it did kind of live on through Mario Kart 8, with Big Blue and Mute City being remastered in that game alongside Captain Falcon's vehicle being in that game, but oddly enough, not Captain Falcon himself, which is, you know, a little weird. Captain Falcon's spirit also lives on within Super Smash Bros., with him being one of the most iconic characters from that series. Obviously, the Falcon Punch is a huge part of Smash and just like video game culture. So even though the spirit of F-Zero has kind of lived on, the actual games really do need to make a return. They are so different from Mario Kart because they're really fast-paced, and Mario Kart is, I mean, even in 200cc, it doesn't really come close to how fast F-Zero truly feels.
And to add on to that, as you said, Captain Falcon is not a playable character in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, even though pretty much everything but Captain Falcon is able to be played in that game. So maybe because Captain Falcon isn't playable, they could be making a new F-Zero game sometime. I don't know, we can hope, but kind of doubtful. Next up is Paper Mario. Now, the last Paper Mario game that we got came out in 2016, being Color Splash, but it wasn't exactly what fans expected. Ever since Sticker Star, they changed up the combat style, and a lot of Paper Mario fans like myself want the old style of game back on Switch, being the Thousand Year Door. And I see that as the prime of the series, and I hope that comes back. Now, I understand the series has to change over time, so it's not just the same copy-paste over and over, but I think they need to find a way to keep that same oh my god, English. But I think they need to find a way to keep that same Thousand Year Door combat style while having a modern graphical style and new presentation, and just overall quality of life improvements that are just a bit modernized.
And while a franchise like F-Zero is probably not going to get a new installment anytime soon, we have actually gotten a giant rumor stating that we are getting not just a new Paper Mario, but a new OG Paper Mario, just like you mentioned, PJ, coming this year. So, hey, I mean, fingers crossed for this one to actually become a reality. Next up, we got a new installment to Kid Icarus. Kid Icarus is a very interesting series for Nintendo. The first 2 games were on the NES and the Game Boy, and then the series kind of died and was resurrected by Smash Bros. Creator Masahiro Sakurai when he added Pit in Brawl. The Brawl version of Pit was so interesting that Sakurai later went on to direct an entire new Kid Icarus game, which is Kid Icarus Uprising on the 3DS, and that game is one of Nintendo's most underrated experiences of all time. It's a phenomenal game that is only held back by the fact that it's on the 3DS. I mean, I've made numerous videos about this in the past, but Kid Icarus Uprising HD on Switch would just be phenomenal. So either an HD version of Uprising, a completely new Kid Icarus game, I don't know, but somehow this modern version of Kid Icarus that we saw on the 3DS needs to be brought to the Switch, because, I mean, the 3DS just did not do this game the justice it needed.
Moving on, we have Mario Hoops and Mario Strikers. Now, recently, I made a video on Super Mario Strikers, how I'd like to see a sequel come to the Switch, but these games, just Mario Hoops and Mario Strikers, have just been forgotten about, with Mario Hoops having the most recent installment on the DS in 2006, along with Mario Strikers Charge coming out for the Wii in 2007. Both of these games were so fun, and I'm really disappointed, to be honest, that there's not really been any sort of continuation for the Switch, or even the Wii U, let alone. And these games have been out for over a decade, just to add on to that. So it's just really crazy. It's not like the games were hated or anything, but I feel like they've just forgotten about them. And I think they've just stuck to making the Olympic Games instead of just the sports games, because in some of the Olympics games, obviously summer and winter, you are going to have some soccer and sometimes you have basketball. So maybe that's why they've stopped making the games, but I don't really know. I hope they eventually come out sometime in the Switch's lifespan.
Next franchise is one that Nintendo obviously created and then subsequently killed on the 3DS. Chibi Robo was a really interesting Nintendo franchise. It's one of those, Nintendo series that feels like only Nintendo could have made it because it's just so weird. So you play as this little robot named Chibi Robo, and basically it's like a 3D platformer around a house, but then Nintendo ended up killing it by making it a 2D platformer that was just an overall bad game called Chibi Robo Ziplash. Now I'd love to see Chibi Robo on Switch because it's one of those weird Nintendo games that Nintendo used to make all the time during the Wii, GameCube, and prior to that. And in turn, we've been getting a lot more big story pieces, or not even story pieces, but just bigger games like Breath of the Wild and that sort of thing. But like this sort of small, down-to-earth adventure is really interesting and a great break once in a while. So I'd love to see some sort of Chibi Robo revival or port or some sort of Chibi Robo something on Switch, as long as it's not at any way related to Ziplash, because oh my god, that game was apparently just so bad. And last but not least, another series that Nintendo has just absolutely killed, Star Fox. However, unlike Chibi Robo, Star Fox has a chance to, come back. Star Fox Racing was a racing game developed by Retro Studios that was heavily rumored, ended up, well, I mean, I guess we technically don't know if it's not true, but it ended up not being announced when we were told it was going to be announced, leading many people to think that it was just a complete fabrication. Despite that, we really don't have any other Star Fox news to base this section of the video off on, so, I mean, here's hoping we get some sort of Star Fox soon. I'd like to see them not remaster Star Fox 64 for the 10 trillionth millionth time, because that seems to be all they're comfortable doing. I mean, we got Star Fox 64 obviously, then Star Fox 64 3D, and then Star Fox Zero ended up being basically a reimagining of Star Fox 64. It's weird. I feel like half the Star Fox games are all just like remakes of each other. I'd love to see a completely original Star Fox story. We kind of got a glimpse of that with that whole Starlink Ubisoft Toys to Life thing, but that ended up failing really hard. I mean, you can buy like kits of that game for like $3 now, so hopefully we get a like real Nintendo AAA Star Fox game, maybe even developed by Retro Studios too, or is that too much to ask for? I don't know, but I hope we see Star Fox coming sometime on the Switch's lifespan.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like the Star Fox series kind of peaked at Star Fox 64 3D, and the adventure style games that came out on GameCube weren't quite my cup of tea, so I don't know where they go from here with the Star Fox series, and I hope they find a way to revive it and kind of return it to its former glory.
For those of you guys who will watch this long, if you guys want to see PJ and I have more kind of long-term discussions about Nintendo and the gaming industry as a whole, our brand new podcast, Nintendo Tonight, is out. Should be pretty much everywhere that podcasts can be out, so Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube. If you want to know when the latest episodes are dropping, make sure to check the Twitter, which is at Nintendo Tonight, and it should just be linked in the description below.
So that's going to be it for the video, guys. Be sure to leave a comment below letting us know if you agreed with our list, or if you have any other ideas for these quote-unquote forgotten Nintendo series you'd like to see on the Switch. And with that out of the way, once again, thank you guys for watching. Be sure to click that sub button, like the video, follow us on all social media, and join our Discord. All will be linked below. And this is PJ from the Switch Stop.
And I'm Thomas, signing off for now. Peace.